Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto meet Kyuubi first time and gains new power and in Harem with Hinata part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Naruto's new power. Kazuma the Shell Bullet was just recently coming from a battle he went into, which consisted a large assortment of troops from the mainland and afterwards, a real hard yearly brawl from Raiho master of Zetsui, I hope I spelled that right, to determine who was strongest once again. You see they had come to an agreement to protect the lost grounds from the mainland and every year they would duke it out to see what their training had done for them and to see if one of them became any stronger, but their fights always ended in a stalemate with them knocked out on each other's backs at the same time. Damn it. I'm getting sick and tired of those damn mainlanders and always fighting that damn Raiho. This shit is getting on my nerves, Kazuma yelling out his stress of his life. He continued to complain about the way his life went and how his body was deteriorating at slow pace. He knew that Raiho could take all those mainlanders all by himself if he had to and that his body seemingly started to heal from the power he gained from the other side. It just didn't seem fair to him and everyone he knew was dead, including Konami. While his body is deteriorating at a very slow rate, and I do mean slow, the power he gained also gave him an extension on life. Right now he's about 200 years old and he would have thought the mainland would have given up, but it seems the genes of greed in the younger generations seem to keep going. Without even realizing it, he comes upon the site where he had first gained his second stage of his altar. He took the time to think upon on all the times he had wanted this power to just defeat Raiho, but then it escalated to so much more and a lot of losses that he didn't want at all. Hehehe, well I guess that what I get for being such an idiot at the time, but what could I have done then? Certainly not that much considering how smart I was back then. Contrary to his old self, Kazuma has become wise and intelligent. Come on, he lives for that long and you don't think he becomes smart at all. How about we just go with it, K? Do you wish you could start over in some way? A voice rings out in his mind, startling him to what was going on. He power up to his altar, where he has just his hand changed. You know, at the end of the series, just like that. Who's there? Show yourself, the powerful altar user yell out his command, just wanting to get this next fight over with so he can get back to his thought. Calm down, Kit. I'm just trying to ask if you want to start over in some way. This voice sounded dark and sadistic, which reminded Kazuma of Kyoji Mujo. The voice then continued, if you want I can give you what you want, Kit. You only need to ask, he. Kazuma was really not liking this voice already and he knew that such gifts came with a great price. Oh, and why would some stupid voice want to give me, a complete stranger, such a gift? I know such deals don't come without price and I'm not as much as an idiot I was back then, so come out and show yourself, you coward. A few moments passed after he yelled to the voice and nothing happened, not even a sound came from the altar forest that he was in and that really disturbed him now. Then out of nowhere a giant earthquake occurred in the area he was in. The trees fling about trying to keep hold on the earth they were on and the animal run from the source of the earthquake, which seemed to conveniently be in the area Kazuma was in. The ground of the area started to crack under the force of the quake and from those cracks came an eerie, but familiar light. It then hit him in the head of what that light was. It was the light that radiated from the portal from the other side, and then those cracks explode, kicking up dust from the ground. When he opened his eyes, he came upon something he didn't think he would ever see. What the hell? He said in a low voice at the creature that now stood before him. The very creature he was seeing was like some giant fox with 9 tails swaying dangerously back and forth, creating great wind. His fur was a sort of dark orange with black streaks coming from his eyes and those very eyes were a cold, piercing red. Well, here I am, Kit, right in your sight, and now that you see me, I bet you having second thoughts about me coming out, he, the giant fox speaks in a booming and evil-like voice. Hey, don't flatter yourself, furball. You just kinda surprised me and I've dealt with more uglier and bigger things than you, so you might as well tell me who you are. the powerful alter said in an excited voice with a smirk on his face, just waiting to fight such an opponent. He could tell he was more powerful than any of the opponents he faced before, and he was definitely more powerful than Raiho. He. I must say you please me, kid, and as for whoiam, I am the mighty nine-tailed fox, Kyuubi, and as I have asked before, do you want to start over in your life? The mighty fox booming his loud voice. HMPH, please, what would you gain from helping me start over in life, and why would you do such a thing? He knew this fox was trying to trick him into something, but he just couldn't figure out what. Well, to answer both your question, I am doing this so that I can pass on in life. I tire of such human and demon quarrels, and by helping you, I can be free from such petty things. Kyuubi looked straight into his light brown eyes, and Kazuma saw he was being truthful about what he said. Well, what does this entail? I'm already done with this life, so what are you going to give me? He then dropped his stance, but still had his altar up just in case. HMPH, I will give you my power and you will be transported to another world. There your life will start over and you'll have a purpose once again, so what do you say? You want to take this or not? Kazuma the Shell Bullet. This surprised Kazuma a bit because he never introduced himself to the giant fox. He was about to ask how he knew his name but was quickly cut off when the Kyuubi continued. Oh, I have been watching for some time now, kid, and I know that you feel empty with your current life, so will you or will you not take the offer? Kazuma started to contemplate on what to do. Should he take this fur ball's offer and risk what the giant fox has up his furry sleeve, or should he just turn it down and go back to the life he knew would end his meaningless life that he created? He then finally decided on what he wanted to do. I'll take your offer. There's nothing left for me here and I've lost everyone that I knew, so it's not like there will be anyone to miss me, and Raiho can definitely take care any of the mainland troops that come here. So give me your power and send me to this other world. Good choice, kid, and now I shall make you into the new nine-tailed fox. You will now be known as Kyuubi. Ha 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 ha. Before Kazuma got the drift of what he said, it was already too late as the giant fox leapt forward towards him. The fox's body started to disintegrate into dust, and that very dust had started to swirl around Kazuma and it started form a sort of cocoon. It then started to shrink into nothingness. All the while Kazuma felt all the power being added to his own. Now that has to be real powerful, right? It started to tear through his body and his body started to rip through his clothes. Fur started to grow. His head started to elongate from his jaw while his ears started to move from the side of his head to the top of his head, and his whole body started to hunch over. Before he knew it, he was the spitting image of the nine-tailed fox, Kyuubi. On the outside, the cocoon then disappeared out of existence, having Kazuma leave the world he knew behind. It felt like ages to the new demon lord when it was only seconds. Before he knew it, he broke out of the cocoon in his new form, but with all that power rushing through him, he started to go on a rampage in the surrounding area. Nearby, a scout from a certain hidden village saw the demon lord and sent a messenger bird to inform of the incoming attack from the demon lord. Days later, Kazuma was laying waste to the forest near that very village and slaughtering anyone who came his way and destroying anything else. He then spotted a giant toad. It didn't matter to him in his fit of madness and what it was doing there. He then spotted a man on top of that very toad and a baby he was carrying in his arms. Before he knew it, a light struck out from the man and was being pulled into that very light. He then fell into a very blissful sleep with one thought on his mind: what the hell just happened? 12 years later, a certain blonde 12-year-old is being trained by one perverted Sanin to get ready for the Chunin exam final rounds, and at last moments of this training, he's brought around Konoha to what the perverted sage would call his student's last day of living, in a manner of speaking. The toad sage known as Jiraiya is trying to get his new student, Naruto, to access the limitless chakra supply the Kyuubi holds, but Naruto can't do it due to his size, can't handle such power, and the only way he has gotten to tap into such power was through danger and emotions, so the only way for him to physically control such power, he must go through very intense danger for him to do so. And so he knocks out the young boy and drags him off to the area. He will get the boy to access the power and hopefully be able to gain some control. The old man throws the boy on the floor. When he gets to his destination, upon hitting the floor, the blonde boy starts to wake up from being knocked out. Once he gets his thoughts together, he then asks the old man, "Huh? Hey, where are we?" "Well, perverted sage. Stand up now." Jiraiya's sounding serious for once, and that starts to scare Naruto. "Huh, hey, what's going on here?" the boy says in a worried tone. "Your training ends here and now," the old man still saying in a serious tone. "Huh, but I haven't done anything ye," but the boy voice was quickly cut off by the old man. "Naruto, starting now you must stare death in the face. To stave off the horror of death you must release an enormous amount of chakra. Once you experience that you'll understand how to release the red chakra you talked about to me. If you don't wish to die, do something about it, now." The sage then pokes his finger on the boy's forehead, but he infused the poke with a precise amount of chakra that it seemed like a push, but it pushed him so far he didn't know when he would stop. He then saw that he was way over deep cliff and that he was falling towards the bottom, which was too high even for him. Quickly trying to think of something so that he won't become red paint on the ground he's falling to, Naruto tries to channel his chakra to his hands and feet to grab onto the cliff's sides, but the dull spiky rocks proved to be too wet for him to hold onto. Falling in further to the rocky ground, the blonde boy thinks, "If I keep on like this, I really am going to die, die." In that moment he is brought to a sort of sewer system, dark and dreary halls with pipes dripping with water and flooding the very halls themselves. Where am I? At that moment Naruto thought he heard a low growl, but it felt like it was close to a yawn. Upon hearing that, Naruto sets out to see where the growling yawn came from. Getting closer and closer to his destination, the sound of snoring could be heard from the distance. When he came upon his destination, he see a giant cage with a single tag on it saying, "Seal." What is this? What the hell is going on? He then sees on the other side of the cage piercing red eyes and giant fangs. This make Naruto wonder just what the hell is in this very cage and what is going on. But the very eyes look droopy as if it just woke up and let a loud yawn, to which the young boy had to close his ears so he wouldn't go deaf from the booming yawn. "Huh? What you doing here, kid? I thought you were supposed to be training with that idiotic old pervert sage," the mysterious creature said in tired tone. "Huh, how would know that and just what? It then hit him like a semi-truck running over a deer. Okay, maybe I'm laying it a bit too thick, but hey, let's just go with it." This was what was sealed inside him. "You're the nine-tailed fox, Kyuubi." Oh yeah, that's the name I've been going by for the last 12 years, but hey, a name's a name, right?" the fox said in a lazy tone. "What's with that attitude of yours? Because of you my life has been hell because of what you did. And, wait a minute, what do you mean for 12 years? You're supposed to be like thousands of years old." At first the boy's voice was full of hate, but when he just caught onto what he said of how long he had the name of Kyuubi, it really confused the hell out the boy. Well, I mean exactly what I meant by it. You know what? I don't feel like explaining the whole thing, so I'll just show you my memories so you'll understand, kid." Then from out of the cage, a swirl of chakra came, but instead of red it looked yellow, almost gold in color. When the strange chakra enveloped him, he was with a bombardment of memories. The knowledge altars, the portal to the other side, the battles of Kazuma the shell bullet went through with, Holy, and the mainland, his friends and who he had considered family, and finally the twisted deal of him and Kyuubi, which to surge of power that made him mad with, madness. All of these memories made it feel like ages, but only a second went by and hell fell right on his butt, being a bit dizzy from the bombardment of memories. What the hell? Can all of that be really true? Are you really that cool guy named Kazuma? After seeing the battles he went through and what determination Kazuma had, he came to admire the accidental demon lord. Hey, yup, that's me, Kazuma the shell bullet. Anyways, kid, I can see that old idiot got you into a real bind, am I right? Kazuma, putting it into more of a statement than a question, Well, there's only one thing we can do about this situation. Huh, and what would that be, Kazuma? The young boy wondered what he was talking about. Maybe he's talking about giving me some of his chakra for the summoning jutsu. I mean that since we're both connected in some way because of this seal, I'm going to give you my power. My alter power. Before the boy could process what he was talking about, he was immediately enveloped once again in that strange yellow chakra. That very chakra was cutting into his very core, to which he only screamed out in pain of the process. During this very process, his right arm started to glow in the same color as the strange chakra. Oh, and when you're done out there, why don't you go get some clothes that don't sting anyone's eyes? Plus you're a ninja, so get dark clothes. Sheesh. And with that last comment from the accidental demon lord, Naruto awoke in the real world, still falling to the rocky floor. Hey, thanks Kazuma. I think I'll use the power you just gave me to save my sorry hide. Naruto then began to concentrate on the task at hand, all the while the old hermit was watching his student fall to his doom, hoping that he would find some way to tap into the Kyuubi's chakra. But what he saw was something else entirely, because he then saw the boy began to darken in color while radiating with a strange glow, and then he saw his arm split into 3 parts. Then the cliff walls around the boy boomed out of existence, and a golden lace strapped the 3 segments back together. Then 3 red spikes appeared onto his back. Then lastly a sort of strange gauntlet appeared on his arm, starting all the way from the shoulder to the hand, which now had claws. He also saw that the boy's hair had changed from blonde to a sort of crimson color, and that his hair had spiked up even further. The first transformation had hurt Naruto a lot, but he had to do it if he was going to survive this. He then turned his body up towards the sky, looking straight at the old hermit. Alright, you perverted sage, you're going to pay for doing this. He then cocked his new alter hand back. What's the kid doing? I wonder if he's going to. Wait a minute, he's aiming that thing at me. The old man was wondering what his student was doing. It then dawned on him at the build-up of chakra he was infusing into the strange fist. Here I go. Shocking first bullet. The lower spike on his back then propelled him real quickly towards the old man. When he got right in the old pervert's face, he then threw the punch straight into the mon's jaw, quickly knocking him out with swirly eyes visible on his face. That's what you get for pushing me off a cliff, you damned old man. He barely got 2 steps before he fainted from all the power he just used. Then, out from the state of being knocked out, the old pervert got up just as quickly and went over to the boy's body. Just what was that power? Was it the Kyuubi doing, or was it a Kekkei Genkai? Well, I guess the only way for me to know is to wait for the boy to wake up. He then picked up the boy's body and carried him off to his apartment so that he could get some comfortable rest, and also so that he can quickly drop the brat to doing some research for his next book. But after doing that, he would need to tell the 3rd Hokage about this new development with the boy. During all of this, Naruto returned to the dank sewer to where Kazuma was imprisoned. He then followed the same path he found the cage. He wanted to find out more about Kazuma and alter power. He may have gone through his memories, but that was not enough to find out about what alter users were and what power alter power held. Plus he wanted to find out more Kazuma himself. Hey Kazuma, I'm back, Naruto said with a cheery voice with that foxy grin he had. Hey kid, what's up? Why you back so soon? The 212-year-old man asked in an equally cheery tone. Well, seeing as how now that I have your power and how you're living inside of me, I was thinking we could get to know each other more and I could find out more about alters, the young boy said while sitting cross-legged in front of the cage while scratching the back of his head. I guess it's only natural for you to do so, seeing as how the memories I showed you were going through you so fast in your mind, it would leave you with questions, so alright. Well, as you know, I'm Kazuma the Shell Bullet, and for the whole night until the next morning the two talked about themselves and among other things to each other. During the conversation, Naruto asked him if he could help him train in using his newly acquired altar. Kazuma agreed, seeing as how he didn't want the boy to go through the same deterioration as he did when he tried to get power too fast. He told the boy to get some weights for his hands, legs, and torso because in order for him to get the hang of his altar, he'll need to have some speed and power. Kazuma then remembered for the boy to handle such power, the boy will need a bigger body. Now after being trapped in the body of an energetic boy left him with time to come up with his own techniques. Naruto, there's one more thing. I might need to infuse more power into your body so that you can handle the outburst of power when you use my altar, the new Kyuubi said in a worried tone which confused the boy. Why would he sound worried about something that needed to be done? He was sure he could handle it. Why do you sound so worried, Kazuma? I mean whatever needs to be done so that I can handle the altar you gave me shouldn't be too bad, right? When he looked into the worried look on his tenant's eyes, he himself started to get worried. The process will be painful seeing as how I'll need make your body grow due to the malnourishment you have on your body. And trust me, I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. This made the boy cringe, but seeing as how he'll need to do this in order to control the awesome power he acquired from the new demon lord, he'll go through any adversity and to control it and use its power in order to help him on his dream to become the greatest Hokage the world has seen. Hey, who do you think you're talking to, Kazuma? I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the next and greatest Hokage that will ever live. I don't back down on anything and I give you my word that I can handle it because that's my ninja way, the young blonde said in a determined and loud voice. Hey, ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ooh, Naruto, you are one of the few people that I like and that's saying a lot. Alright, we'll start right away, you ready? The former altar user was ready to get things ready as soon as possible, to which he only got a determined nod from the young boy. He then started the process of increasing the body size and muscles of the boy, while in the process the boy screams out in pain. Naruto, this process will take most of the night and a little bit of upcoming morning, just so you know. So like bear with it, okay? He only got more screams as an answer. In the Hokage Tower, the third Hokage was just told of Naruto's newfound power from his old student Jiraiya and was wondering if the Kyuubi's seal was weakening. If that was the case, the council will not need a second thought before they order an execution for the young boy, and that was the last thing Sarutobi wanted. Just then he heard scream coming from the direction of Naruto's apartment building. Upon hearing the screams, he then called in the Anbu to come with him and Jiraiya to see what was going on with Naruto himself. When they got there, they mouth were wide open because right there on the bed of his apartment was Naruto glowing in a sort of yellow, golden chakra and seemed to be growing. This confused them a lot, but then the Anbu leader voiced his thoughts. Lord Hokage, is the Kyuubi being set free from the boy? Should we kill him now that he's vulnerable? The Hokage gave the Anbu leader a death glare. No, we will not do such a thing yet. He may just be gaining control of the fox's power and it's probably affecting his body this way because of him gaining control. He then slowly went over to the boys and looked at the seal. Upon seeing it, he let out a sigh of relief. The seal itself is still intact, we can relax. But I want you, Jiraiya, to watch over the boy for the night. If the Kyuubi is indeed breaking through the seal, then I want you to quickly do what you can to keep him sealed. Yes, sensei, I shall do as you say. He then took a chair from the room and sat beside the bed of the boy. The rest of the Anbu left while leaving just Jiraiya, Sarutobi, and Naruto in the room. Please make sure the boy stays safe, Jiraiya. I consider him a grandson just as much as my real one. The third only got a nod before he left. Jiraiya then turned his toward the young boy that was screaming out in pain and quickly did a soundproof jutsu on the room, so that the screams could not be heard all over Konoha. When the sun rose, the process of growing the boy's body had come to a stop about an hour ago. When the sun's rays hit the young boy's face, his eyes started to flutter. Did anyone get the name of that jutsu that hit me? Hey, at least it's a little close. He then looked over to the side of his bed and saw that the old pervert was in a chair beside his bed. Must have came during the process of my body changing. I guess he must have been worried. Oh well, I gotta do my morning things. His morning things consisted of brushing his teeth, taking a shower and then putting on a little deodorant. Not too much of course seeing as how he's a ninja, but when he was about to brush his teeth, he saw his image on the mirror. His face was now more defined and he hardly had the baby fat he had on his face, he was almost chiseled. He then turned to his full-body mirror that hanged on the bathroom door and saw that he was definitely taller, where he was in the low 4 feet. He was now in the mid-high of 5s. And that's not all. His muscles, although not completely ripped, was nicely built for a ninja. But then he quickly noticed his hair, it wasn't blonde anymore but now a dark brown. His hair was still spiky and he still had his sky blue eyes and birthmark whiskers, at least people would be able to tell he was still the same person if he had those. After that he went on about his morning things. When he was done with being in the bathroom, he then saw that the old man wasn't in his seat. He started to look for him, but he then felt cold steel upon his neck and then heard the old man's voice, which was low and threatening, "Who are you and what are you doing in this apartment?" This made the boy mad. "What the hell you old pervert, why to have a kunai to my neck?" "It's me, Naruto, you know you can be such a stupid pervert sometimes." This surprised the old sage, but he was still skeptical of the person in front of him. "If you're Naruto, then you can do the one jutsu that I like him to do for me." He knew that there was only one technique that the boy had that could stop any man dead in their tracks and knock out even the strongest of cages. "You alright your old perv." He then formed a single hand seal, transform. What come out of the puff of smoke when he spoke those words was pure beauty to the old man. There standing in Naruto's place was a woman with a great body with the smoke covering her well-endowed body parts while she had her long dark brown hair going down to the middle of her back. She then blew a kiss to him with a wink. "Ooh, Lord Jiraiya, don't you recognize me, sob, you gonna make me cry," the clouded babe said in a sad, but seductive voice. During this time, the old pervert was at loss. He wanted to go hug the boy for being alright, but here was the boy in his sexy jutsu that he could hardly resist at all and want to take notes for his next book. He would never touch him seeing as how it's just a jutsu and if he did, that would make him just as bad as Orochimaru and that's the last thing he wants. So he settled with signaling him to put a stop to the jutsu seeing as how he now knew it was Naruto. "Well then kid, I see that you definitely went through some changes. Now I would like to know just what happened when you got that weird arm at the cliff, that got him an angry scowl from the young boy which made him sweat a little, because contrary on how fast he recovered from the hit, that punch still really hurt. He then remembered that it was because of him that he gained such a cool power. Sigh, well I guess you know about Kyuubi, huh? He got a nod from the old man. Well during the fall, he then told him all of what had happened and what was happening to his body after he got knocked out after using his new altar. The information the old man received, even though a little unbelievable, had some credibility seeing as how nothing like the arm Naruto used on him was ever seen anywhere before and it would most likely be considered a Kekkei Genkei. Naruto, if you use that arm in the Chunin exams then you must say that it is part of your clan's long-lost bloodline limit. I will relay what you have just told me to the Hokage. Now that you have gained access to Kazuma's chakra, then you should be alright now and seeing as how he gave you that power, I'd say you more than ready. Right, I just need to use the remaining time to gain a little more control over my new altar power." With that they both went their separated ways and Naruto did as much training as he could with the weights he bought that day. He was steadily mastering the style Kazuma was teaching him, but the former altar user said he didn't name his style, so Naruto said that someday he would come up with a perfect name for this style. All of this training lasted to the point of where it was 3 days before the Chunin finals. Naruto thought for a moment and remembered Kazuma's words right before he got his altar power and how he said that a ninja should have dark clothes. Now he wasn't complaining about his orange attire, but he had to agree now that he was seeing it from someone else's point of view, plus the clothes he had now were too small for him so he needed some new clothes. So he went into a store, not needing to transform seeing as how he looks so different, and started picking out a few clothes with the money he had at the moment. He picked out a crimson long-sleeve tight shirt, a gray jacket with gray cargo pants that had pockets for scrolls, and got black combat boots. The last thing he got was one black fingerless glove that could have been a copy of Kazuma's glove because it had the same items on the parts where the fingers came out of. When he went to buy the items, the girl took one look at him and all of a sudden had hearts in her eyes, which came to surprise from him because he saw the same kind of look when Sakura, Ino, or any other of the SFC, Sasuke fan club, saw Sasuke walking around, so he started looking left and right for the said Avenger. But he couldn't find him, meaning the girl was going gaga over him, which once again surprised him. Excuse sir, but, what is your name? The cute counter girl asking the new brunette. This kinda caught Naruto off guard. You may remember my name, it's Naruto, Naruto Uzumaki. Now this caught the girl off guard. How could such a tall and handsome man be the little brat that pranked too many times on the village? She took a good look at him and noted he had the spiky hair, sky blue eye, but the one thing she definitely caught were the birthmark whiskers on his face. All in all, these things made him more handsome, and now she didn't even care. Oh, Naruto, I didn't recognize you. Well, are you here to buy yourself some new clothes? Yes I am, so how much will this all amount to? He felt good that the girl didn't try to throw him out once she found who he was, so he dug around his pockets for his frog wallet. Gama-chan, if you want to name the wallet. Oh, no, this will be on the house Naruto. Please, you don't have to pay for them. She wanted to quickly somehow get in his favors, so she can become the new hunky boy's girl. Oh, thanks, that means a lot to me. Well, I gotta go. Watch me in the finals. The new altar user picked up his clothes and left, but before he could leave, a camera that was placed at the front door seems to have taken a picture. When we look at the counter girl, we see she has pressed a button under the counter that trigger the camera to take pictures. The girls of the SFC are not going to believe this. Sigh, Mr. and Mrs. Uzumaki, I can just see it now, the girl said with a dreamy look on her face. When he got home, he put his new set of clothes on the bed and was about to put them on, but then quickly thought of something. Why not surprise everybody at the exams and show off his new look right then? With that, he went off to his own training grounds to get back on having control over his new altar. About in the end of training, something strange happened. Pant, I can't beat Neji if I have this much power. His right arm then started to glow. I need more power, more. He then noticed the area once again disintegrated around him. When he transforms his arm, his altar arm was now starting to glowing again. A sharp pain started to go through him and started to hold his right arm out. When the pain was done and the light died down, he saw something that surprised him. His arm had gone to its second stage of power. He had the propeller fin, the 3 spikes on his face, and his arm looked more powerful with that device in the middle of his fist. But just as quickly as he saw it, he fainted. He soon found himself back in front of Kazuma's cage. What the hell happened? You released the next stage of my altar, kid. I really didn't expect that. You really have some talent there, kid. Kazuma praising on the kid's progress, seeing as how it took him just about a lifetime to gain that power. What do you expect? I'm going to be the next Hokage, and something like this only comes naturally, the new brunette said in cocky voice. Naruto, let's get serious here. I want you to only use that stage if your life is truly in danger, or if your precious people are in danger, the new fox said behind his cage with an unusual serious tone. Why? I could beat Neji's real quick with this power. He really wondered why Kazuma would restrict him on using his new achievement. Because that stage of power can only safely go through you for about 10 minutes. When the time's up, your body will start to deteriorate like my last body did when I attained that power, and I don't think you want to die in puff of dust just because you want to show off your new power, the former altar user said in the same serious tone, but quickly went back to his usual manner. Hey, don't worry, kid. The first stage should definitely be enough for you to beat that pompous asshole you're going to fight in the first round. Just thinking about him makes me mad. The jerk reminds me of Raiho before we teamed up against Kyoji Mujo and the asshole still acts like he's better than me. Ooh, if I ever see him again, I'm gonna kick his right there. At first Naruto was scared that he might go into the same state Kazuma was in when he obtained the second stage of power, but when he tried to cheer him up, it really took a load off him when he heard the first stage would be enough seeing as how he knew more about his alter than Naruto does. Hey, don't worry Kazuma. I'll only use first stage like you asked me to and only use the second stage only in desperate situations. Oh, and I'll also give Neji a punch for you, seeing as how he pissed you off too. He. Thanks kid, well see ya later. Naruto then found himself back on the training ground and he saw that the sun was about to set for the night. So he dusted himself off and went on his way home. When he awoke the next morning, he wondered what he could do for the day seeing as how he was giving himself a day off for all the training he was doing. He then thought of meeting with his friend, Bushy Brows Rock Lee, to see if he's doing fine from his injuries, from fighting against Gaara in the prelims of the exams. He knew that he heard that from his injuries from that fight that they said he would never be a shinobi ever again. He knew that Lee's dream was to be the best taijutsu specialist, since he couldn't use ninjutsu and genjutsu at all, but to never be able to attain you dream because of something you can hardly do anything about. Well, he just couldn't imagine the pain of losing such a dream that was almost like his own. He then set out to go to the hospital to see how he was doing. When he got the hospital, he asked the nurse in front desk for the room Lee was in. Now usually when he would ask this nurse himself, she would tell him to leave and never come back again and throw various at him to make him leave, but now was different. When she looked up to see him, she immediately blushed at the sight of him and stuttered as to what room he was in. He kindly thanked the young nurse and went off to see Lee. All the while the nurses that were in the main hall had hearts in their eyes at seeing such a hunky guy. When he was on his way to see Lee, he noticed Shikamaru and Ino were coming out of a room, probably seeing how Choji was doing after his fight with Dosu in the prelims. Hey guys, what you up to? The boy said in a cheery tone with the foxy grin on his face. When they heard his face, they were about to say some choice words, one being lazy and the other being out of annoyance for the young boy, but when they saw who the voice belonged to they immediately stopped. Both of them wondered just who the hell this guy was and why he was being so familiar with them. Who are you? We don't know you. But when he was about to answer he gave another foxy grin, which made Ino blush at the sight of it. Whoever this guy is, he sure as hell is just as hot as Sasuke. The young blonde girl thought in her mind. Ah, you wound me Ino. I guess you wouldn't recognize me after my training. It's me guys, Naruto Uzumaki, the new brunette announced proudly, and if you not convinced how about I do this, does a hand seal, transform. He did the sexy jutsu that they knew he was one of the only people that could do the jutsu, which made Shikamaru fall back with blood running down his nose and made Ino's face go beet red. When he released the jutsu they both got back to previous states and looked at the new look and height Naruto had. Man Naruto, what have you been eating? I sure would like it. HMPH, damn Naruto, so troublesome, Shikamaru asked in a lazy tone, but said the last sentence in a whispered voice. Wow Naruto, you look, you look, C quickly turned her body away from him, trying to hide the blush from her face by holding her hand on her cheeks and lowering her head while shaking it slowly left and right. Ooh, man Naruto looks so hot now, but what about Sasuke? Why did he have to all of a sudden look so hot? Man, I'm really torn between from choosing on whom to go for. I mean Naruto looks so dashing with the he looks now, but Sasuke so dark and mysterious, but Naruto. The thoughts kept on running rampant in the girl's mind, leaving the boys to lift eyebrows at the way she was acting. Naruto wanting to quickly get to Lee to see how he's doing looked towards Shikamaru. Alright, anyways Shikamaru, how's Choji? Oh, he's doing okay. So what are you doing here? You here to visit Sasuke? Though he highly doubted it seeing as how the two acted with each other. Hell no, that wouldn't even care if I did something for him. No, I'm here to see how Lee is doing, wanna come along man? The new altar user asked the lazy shinobi. Sure, let's get going. See ya Ino, the lazy boy waved off without looking back while walking with Naruto to Lee's room. Yay! See ya later Ino, the new brunette yelled out to the blonde. After a minute or two, the girl broke from her thoughts and saw she was all alone in the hall. She hung her head low for not noticing that they had left her there. She had finally come to a decision to ask Naruto if he was doing anything that night, so they could get a bite to eat and maybe have little lip lock action with him afterwards when they were done. Ah, man, this really sucks. How could I have been so caught up in my thoughts to not know when they left and I was about to ask Naruto out? Oh well, might as well go home, she thought, then left to go home and go to sleep with dreams of a certain new brunette and her together. Back with the two boys, they finally got to Lee's room and opened the door only to see something very wrong happening. There was Gaara, ready to use his sand to crush the remaining life the boy had. Shikamaru quickly used his shadow possession jutsu to stop him dead in his track. Naruto quickly went in and delivered a punch to the boy's face to stop him further. What the hell do you think you're doing here, pal? The new brunette demanded from Sand User on what he was doing exactly. Damn it Naruto. When I use the shadow possession jutsu, you're hitting me too when I'm connected to him you idiot, the lazy boy said angrily towards Naruto. Man, that punch could have knocked my jaw clear off, I wonder if he was holding back. Hey, sorry about that man. It won't happen again, the hyperactive ninja said while scratching the back of his head. He then turned back to the crazed Sand User. Now, just what were you trying to do? The redhead that stood in front of them just stood there in silence, without answering the question at all. After a few moments of silence, he finally spoke up, pure and simple, I was going to kill him. Shikamaru found the act he was going through a little trouble. The crazed Sand User doesn't seem to be in the slightest way fazed by his jutsu, you already beat him once in the competition. What's your problem? Wasn't that enough for you? Do you have some personal vendetta against him or something? He asked in an angry voice. I have nothing against him at all, it's really nothing that complicated. I simply just want to kill him, that's all, Gaara said in a soulless toned voice. Just what is wrong with you? You're off your damn rocker, you asshole, Naruto screamed out at the insanity this guy had. Why would he just kill him like it's as if a normal and enjoyable thing for him to do to pass off the time? Yay, you think we're going to just stand by and just let you do whatever you want? You are just one sick psycho, you know that. The lazy boy said in an angry tone, but all the while the Sand User was giving Shikamaru the creeps and if he made any sort of move, he doesn't know if he could stop him at all. If you guys don't stay out of my way, then I'll have to kill you too as well, the Sand User replied casually to them. Oh really? Well let's just see you try it, the new altar user said wanting to already pummel this guy to the floor. If he thought he was the same weakling he was in the prelims, he had another thing coming. Hey, whoa, take it easy there Naruto, Shikamaru was wondering if he was nuts if thought he could take on such a dangerous enemy, only best chance for us is to try and bluff our way out of this. Yay, whatever, we both watched your last fight with Lee, we know you're tough, but you now what? Me and Naruto here have a few tricks up our sleeves as well. We were holding ourselves back during the competition, there are things you haven't even seen as to yet, in ways Shikamaru was telling the truth, a half-truth you could say, seeing as how Naruto could most likely blow him away with his new altar power. On top of that, it's 2 against 1, so don't be a fool okay? Just take my advice and go, quietly. But Gaara just stood there, not even fazed by the statements, I'll say it once more, if you get in my way, I'll kill you. That really shot his plans to ground and was then thinking up an alternate plan to get out of this situation without anybody getting killed in the process. But once again, Naruto had to make it worse. Hey, and like I said, let's see you try it pal. Back off will ya, we don't want to go there. This guy fights like he's mad, like he's a demon or something. Shikamaru trying to calm the new brunette down, not wanting the situation getting any worse. Hey, he can act like demon if he wants to, but you know what? I got the real thing inside of me, and he left it at that, not wanting his friend to know about Kazuma and who he is now. Gaara raised a non-existent eyebrow at the boy's statement, but just as quickly shrugged it off, thinking he was making another bluff like his friend. You idiot, what's the point of getting him pissed off, huh? The lazy boy was really not liking where the situation was going and was now hoping he come out of it one piece at least. Hey, it's like you said, man, there are things that he hasn't seen yet that I can pull out of my sleeves, or should I say out of my right arm, the brunette said in a cocky voice. Huh, is he serious? You got to be joking me. Did he acquire some sort of technique that can get through that sand shield of his? Shikamaru was really hoping that Naruto had some sort of trick to get them out of this situation. Gaara wasn't really caring what the boy held, and remember what he said about him having a demon, huh? My demon is as real as yours is. From my birth, my upbringing is what most people would consider not a happy one. To ensure that I became the strongest of shinobi, my father had cast his ninjutsu on me, infusing my unborn self with the sand spirit, and I destroyed the life of the woman who gave birth to me. I was born a monster, the sand user said in a soulless tone. This shocked both the boys, but aside from Shikamaru, Naruto began to think how father could do such a thing to a child, and was thinking that this must be the reason why he is the way he is today. The sand user then continued. Its name is Shukaku, and it's the living incarnation of an old monk of the sand village that had been sealed up on a jar of tea. The sand user explained on what the sand spirit was. Shikamaru, trying to gain back his composure, said, "Yay, some kind of demonic jutsu, but to use it on a baby before it's even born, man, that's just creepy," saying to himself more than just saying it to Naruto. So he's got one inside of him too, huh? Well, this just made things interesting, right after thinking that Naruto had a smirk creep up on his face. Shikamaru put his own sarcasm into the situation. Gee, what a swell guy your pops was, he must have loved you a lot, huh? You speak of love, don't measure me by your standards. Love, family, the only emotional ties I have to my family are the ones I like to wrap around their necks, they are only ties of hate. This got a shocked look on the lazy boy's face, but Naruto had a face of disgust and hatred. How could someone want to strangle their own family? Didn't they try to help him at all? But the red-headed psycho continued, given life by the death of my mother, I was brought into being and nurtured as the salvation of the village. I was the Kage's child, my father taught me the innermost secrets of the shinobi. He pampered and protected me, and left me to myself. For a time I thought that was love, and that was when everything started. This guy's was really creeping out Shikamaru. What started? Well, out with it, man, I'm getting bored here. The lazy boy shot a glance back at the new Naruto and was wondering why he was trying to make the situation worse with his impatience. That was when the redhead started to look like a real psycho. In the 6 years since I became 6 years old, my father has tried to destroy me on more occasions than I can count, the sand user said in sort of crazed voice. Now that shocked both of them equally, and Shikamaru voiced both their thought. You just finished saying that your father pampered and protected you, so which is it? Those who get to be too strong are up to become feared by others. The jutsu that gave me birth had imbalanced something in my mind. Even the fools in my village realized I had emotional problems. My father, the Kage, created me as his ultimate weapon, but I eventually became a threat to the village I was meant to save. By the time I was 6, I became a figure of terror to the villagers. To them, I was a relic of the past that they wish would just disappear, so you see that how you'd fail at the one purpose I was given, life. What then was left for me in this existence? Why go on living? For a long time I couldn't find an answer to that, but in order to live you need a purpose. To exist for no reason is the same as being dead, he said in his monotone voice. Just what the hell is this guy talking about? Shikamaru was beyond confused and scared of this guy. Naruto, however, was beginning to see how similar he was to the guy. Then in time the answer came to me. To put it simply, my reason for living was in the killing of others. For years I lived in fear of those who were sent to murder me, but now I am at peace. I have killed many would-be assassins, and it was while doing it that the truth came to me. I live only for myself. I love only myself. As it was the death of my mother that gave me life, now it is the death of other that sustains me, that almost makes me happy to be alive. And there's no end to it. As long as there is still people to kill in this great, wide, crowded world, I will never disappear. Shikamaru was then thinking how this guy was out of his own gourd. This guy, I really do pity him. He has had no one to comfort him and give him a good purpose. In so many ways we're alike, yet so different. Maybe if I beat him in the exams, I can try to reason with him, show him that there is more to life than just killing, the new brunette thought to himself with a sad-looking face. Just how could this have happened to someone who was like him, but had a family? Yet they seemed to have shunned him like the villagers did in his home of Konoha. Then out of nowhere, breaking their train of thoughts, the sand that he controlled burst out from below his feet, getting ready to pounce on them and crush their bones to dust. The lazy boy was wondering just how the hell he was even doing that, because the jutsu he has him trapped in it shouldn't even allow him to do anything. Naruto then got into the battle stance he was taught from Kazuma and was getting ready to call out his altar. Naruto, what the hell do you think you're doing? We need to get out of here. But it seemed as if the lazy boy was talking to a brick wall, cause it seemed the said boy was not listening and just standing there in his own battle stance. Hey, come on. Ah, man, what a drag. Now, let me feel alive, the sand user said in a crazed voice as the sand then launched forward to crush them. Right when it got close to them, Naruto was about to use the sand itself as material for his altar, but then the door to the room slammed open. Alright, that's enough. Save it for tomorrow, that's when the competition begins. You're just wasting it today. Is that what you want? Said the new occupant, revealing it to be none other than Lee's sensei, Mito Guy. When he arrived, Gaara had stopped his attack. When he saw the man, he started to clutch his head as if it were in pain and had a look of painful confusion on his face. While he was in this state, the sand that was within the room started to retract back into the gourd on his back, and when it was finished, he once again had the calm, but deadly face back on. The young sand user then started to walk out of the room, still clutching his head as if he had a massive headache. All the same, I will kill you, just you wait. I kill you all, and with that said, he left without another word. Well, wasn't he just a bundles of fun, Shikamaru? The new altar user said to his lazy friend, to which he got a very hard death glare from him. He then began to sweat under the glare. Oh, sure, he could keep his cool from a trained killer, but he can't seem to keep his cool from his friends who give the very glare. Just what the hell were you thinking? With each word he stomped towards the new brunette. Well, I thought I could take him on with the new techniques I now have. Letting out a bit of a sigh, he gained most of his composure back. Look, man, don't worry. I know I can take him now with the training I've been doing so far, he said with his foxy grin. The lazy ninja let out his own sigh, one that was of stress. I don't know, Naruto, but don't ever do anything like that ever again when I'm around. Geez, so troublesome. He was now back to his old self. Well, now that we know Lee's safe, I'm going back home. See y'all later, Shikamaru. Later, Guy Sensei. Make sure Lee stays safe. The new brunette of the group then left, leaving the other two to just wave goodbye to him. About halfway to his apartment, he then noticed the stadium, where he was going to fight for his title of Chunin, where he was going to fight Neji. During this time he also noticed it was nighttime. He took a good long look at the stadium itself and started to think on how everyone going to be surprised by his changes. Tomorrow, I can't wait. This whole thing is going to rock, Naruto said to himself with an excited voice with a happy grin on his face. He then proceeded back to his apartment to earn some needed rest for the coming conflicts tomorrow. When the morning came, he proceeded to quickly do his morning things. When he was done, he then put on his new clothes that he bought for the finals. When he looked in the mirror, he almost looked like the spitting image of Kazuma in his teen years. He then quickly ate some ramen for breakfast. Just as quickly as he scarfed down his breakfast, he left to go to the stadium. When he looked at his watch while on the way, that he also bought with his new clothes, he saw that he definitely had some time before he got there, and so he went over to the training grounds where Team 7 passed for their Genin exams. When he got there, he noticed that someone else was there as well, but when the person came into view he knew who it was right away. But he had to be sure and called out to the person. Hinata. The girl known as the shy Hinata Hyuga fled right behind a wooden pillar, trying to not show the blush that was on her cheeks, but then she saw who it was and she got a confused look on her face. Hey, I guess you don't recognize me. It's me, Naruto. She then got a doubtful look on her face. Sigh, just look real close at me. Notice any key details about me. She then started to examine him from the wooden pillar and got her blush back, embarrassed that she didn't recognize her crush. Oh, Naruto, it is you. She now saw how he looked now, and seeing him looking so handsome was getting to her. She thought she was going to faint. Oh, what are, doing here, and Naruto? Hey, well, I thought I would just check this place out one more time before the finals. You could say that I wanted some comfort from these grounds, like a sort of bidding myself good luck, because in these training grounds was where I became a genin, the young boy in front of her said with a genuinely happy tone. Oh, I see, the shy girl said behind the wooden pillar. Hey Hinata, Neji is your cousin, right? To which he got a slow nod from her. So is he really strong? He said in a serious tone. What he then got from her was a look that confirmed his question, which he then got a real big smile on his face. Great, I can't wait to beat his pompous to the ground. This caught the girl off by surprise. By the start of his questions, it seemed like he was going to get depressed about not being able to beat her cousin, but then she saw how cheerful he looked when she confirmed his answers. She then got a warm smile on her face and said a few words without stuttering. I know you can beat him, Naruto. You know, I remember the time you cheered for me in the prelims, and though it may seem to most people that I haven't changed since that time, I know that I have. And it was thanks to you, Naruto. The way you cheered for and tried to give me the confidence to keep on fighting helped me to change a little, and all of this is thanks to you, Naruto. This time it caught the boy off guard, but quickly got a smile on his face, now even more happy than he was before, knowing that he at least helped one of his friends. Glad I could help you in some way, Hinata. Well, I'm off, don't want to be late for the competition now, do I? Oh, and don't forget to watch me fight your cousin. He only took a few steps and then stopped, without looking back to her, and spoke. Hey Hinata. You know I always thought you were. What? The little question was ringing in the girl's mind over and over, just waiting for him to finish description of her. Gloomy, timid, always terrified, and basically completely weird, he deadpanned his description and she hung her head low at such a description. But he then continued, but I've now noticed that you're none of the things above. She then got her head right back up and looked at him. He then turned his body towards her with a warm smile on his face. I now know that kind, brave, and really beautiful. This new description made her really blush. Don't ever think you anything else, and just so you know, you're one of the people that I cherish most. At this statement she froze and he went off to the finals. When he got to the entrance of the stadium, he noticed he was right on time for his match, and so he thought of a way for him get in a good entrance. Here we go. He then powered up his altar. In the stadium, everyone was ready for the first round of the competitions, but the only one on the stadium floor was one Neji Hyuga, who had a big smirk on his face. He was thinking that the loser wasn't going to show up because he was too much of a coward to go up against him, and he was afraid to go against his fate. The new proctor, Genma, was getting ready to call the match already. By not showing up for the round on time, the winner is, but he was quickly cut off by someone yelling out in the air. Wait! Out of nowhere a figure lands in front of the two people, kicking up dust to cover the identity of the mysterious figure. Naruto Uzumaki has arrived and is ready to kick some. The wind blew to show the figure to be someone else entirely, except to those who know of his change. Excuse me, but you are not Naruto. Would you please get off the stadium grounds and get back up in the stadium seats? Genma said in a bored tone. Sorry, but I'm not moving an inch, and if you need confirmation on who I am, then just talk to the old man, or should I say the Hokage. Genma was getting ready to take this stranger himself back to the stadium when the ninja that was standing by the Hokage's side appeared to his side and whispered in his ear. He got a shocked look on his face, but simply nodded. Sorry kid, I didn't know you changed your look. Well, let's get this match started. Fighters to the center of the floor now, the proctor announced, his voice out loud. When the audience heard he was going to continue, the people in the stadium were confused. Could this newcomer really be the little blonde brat that played his pranks all the time? When everyone got a good look at him, they noticed the key details that would signify that if it was him. They looked his eyes, hairstyle, and his birthmark whiskers. When everyone saw this, they all got shocked. The male part of the crowd was wondering how the short kid got to be so much bigger and taller and what he had eaten to get to that stated. But the female part, including the SFC, of the crowd had hearts in their eyes, excluding Sakura, Tenten, and Tamari. The three said girls had one thought on their minds: what the hell? How did he get to look like that? Back on the stadium floor, Genma wanted to explain a few things before things really got heated up. Now Naruto, since you were a little late, I'll quickly go over what I went through for the others. The terrain may be different, but the same rules are still the same as before, that is that there are no rules. The match continues until on candidate acknowledges defeat, or dies. That being said, if I determine that a match is over, I can step in and stop it at any time, and no fuss kid. Understood, to which the proctor only got a nod from the new Naruto. Up in the stands, Kiba and Hinata finally made it to the stadium. Hey Hinata, over here, these seats should do nice for us. I bet this match will be a good one. He then saw a mysterious guy in front of Neji. Who the hell is that? Why is he facing off against Neji? I thought Naruto was going to fight him. That is Naruto, Kiba. I don't know what happened to him, but it's definitely Naruto, the shy girl said to the dog boy, which confused the hell out of the boy. He then started to really concentrate to look at the stranger and also tried to smell his scent. When he noticed the key things about him that would make Naruto and his scent, which was a little off for some reason, he was shocked to see and smell that it was the blonde short idiot that beat him in the prelims. But he wasn't short or blonde anymore, but now had brown dark hair and was definitely taller than he was before. What the hell? This can't be real. That guy there is Naruto. To which he only got a nod from his female teammate. Whoa, I have got to know what he does to get to look like that, which he got a nod from all the guys that heard him. Back on the stadium, the match was about to start and the cocky Hyuga said, you look like you got something to say. So hurry up and come out with it, he said in a superior-like voice, not the least bit fazed by his new look. He was thinking that no matter how a person changed his outward appearance, it still doesn't change your destiny. Man, he was such an in the start, guys. The new brunette only threw out his right hand forward, at first spreaded but then clenched into a fist by going one finger at a time, you know, like how Kazuma does before he clenches his fist, and says in an angered, but cold voice with determination in his eyes, only what I told you the last time. That I vow to win this match and to say a little extra, to kick your all over this stadium. Naruto then saw that he activated his bloodline limit that was only belonged to his and Hinata's clan, the Byakugan, and it seemed he was studying him with those freaky eyes. This is so much better for me. I just can't wait for the look of despair on your face, when you learn that your foolish vow is impossible to keep, he said in his, oh so mighty, voice. Yay, we gonna get started or are going keep on debating? The former blonde said in an equally cocky voice, "Let's get down to business, so show me what you got, you pompous." They both then slid into their own battle stance, Neji in his gentle fist style and Naruto in the style that Kazuma taught him. Seeing as how the two competitors were ready to go, Genma started to announce. "Alright, now let the first match of the Chunin finals." The proctor paused and people were waiting for him to announce the start of the match. The little seconds seemed like minutes and the minutes seemed like hours, and slowly, the proctor opened his mouth, "Begin." The two stood there, without moving a muscle, waiting for their one opportunity to strike down their opponent. A few moments went by and Naruto was getting real antsy, and so his temper got the better of him. You see, he may have gone through some rigorous training, but he didn't learn to have patience in battle, plus Kazuma's influence wasn't really doing any better for him either. So he rushed in, breaking ground from where his foot launched from with his right fist cocked back, ready to give a right hook to the Hyuga prodigy. But Neji redirected the punch with a slight use of his palm, but the hyperactive ninja wasn't going to stop there. The former blonde turned the force of his redirected punch and readjusted his body to do a roundhouse kick. But once again, the pale-eyed young man anticipated the attack and stopped the force of the kick by blocking it lazily. He then threw the boy over his shoulder by grabbing onto his ankle. After the initial throw, Naruto caught himself in the air and wildly flipped to the ground harmlessly, and then flew back to attack the Hyuga prodigy. First by throwing in a right jab to his face, then quickly working in a flurry of punches to the Hyuga, but the said young man dodged and blocked each strike thrown at him, which served to annoy the new alter user. After being done with his missed combo punches, he did a quick high kick and then immediately jumped to perform a stomp kick, but once again the Hyuga dodges. When he lands on the ground, he turns his body back to him only to come face to face with the pale-eyed young man. Neji then threw out a chakra-infused palm and it bursts out with its energy, only leaving that very palm inches from Naruto's chest, making the said boy to stagger back a bit from the simple attack. Neji then got ready to strike one of the former blonde's chakra points. Within this moment, Naruto started to remember what his friends and sensei said about the style the Hyugas use, which was called something like hake, or gentle fist, for better thought of the style itself. Because the chakra points are impossible to see to the human eye and are directly connected to a person's chakra system, if you want an explanation on the chakra system, check Naruto's sights or other things. These very chakra points can only be seen, and that's to be assumed, by the Hyuga's dojutsu, the Byakugan. And when they hit a point with this style, they can affect chakra flow by either halting it or increasing it, depending on how the attacker strikes the chakra points. A good example was the fight between Hinata and Neji in the prelims. Even though young Hyuga heiress has the same style, when her cousin used its attacks against her, he almost killed her. Quickly thinking up of a plan before the strike hit a point on his shoulder, he quickly channeled chakra to his feet and got out of the way of the strike. He then skidded a bit in circle, out of the Hyuga's reach. You know, like how Kazuma skids around on the floor. When Neji got out of his slight surprise, he immediately got back into his stance. Do you understand now? You have no way of beating me, the Hyuga prodigy said in his usual cocky manner. You know, besides Hinata, you Hyugas are really some arrogant bastards who just can't seem to see past themselves. If you haven't even noticed, those attacks I have been doing were meant to gauge your skill and strength, and it seems you haven't noticed I have been holding back a lot. This served to anger the prodigy. How dare this loser try to embarrass him and insult his knowledge on his opponents. Well, now that is all done, it's time we got this show on the road. He then started to power up, and then thought back to what the old pervert said to him. Oh, and just so you know, you're not the only one here with a Kekkei Genkai. The area around him then boomed out of existence. The audience watched what happened in awe of what was happening. They saw the boy darken in color and then glow with an eerie light. Then the area exploded. While that was happening, the boy's right arm split into 3 parts. Red spikes then began to appear on his back and a gold lace strapped back the splitted arm back together, then starting from the hand to the shoulder, a stranger gauntlet appeared one segment at a time. When he was done, he tightened his clenched fist's grip and then brought it up to his face. Everyone stared in wonder at what the boy had called his own bloodline limit. Many thoughts were running rampant, but most notable were the thoughts of the newly powered boy's friends, the competitors in a lot of clans, plus one sadistic snake. Wah, what the hell? What the hell is Naruto using and how did he found out he even had a Kekkei Genkai? This question came from one pink-haired kunoichi, Sakura Haruno, who was on the same team as the former blonde was on. I don't know, but I bet that's what made him look like he does now. It must have been the power his bloodline limit had to change his body that way. Man, if that's the case, I wonder what the boys in his family look like. At the last sentence, Ino had a far, dreamy thought of all the hunky guys in Naruto's family. Yay, I wonder if they are, wait a minute. I love Sasuke, there's no possible way for me to like Naruto in that way, even though he does have a great body, no think of Sasuke. Sasuke, 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 Naruto, long mind grunt, why am I even thinking this? Oh well, better cheer him, and with that last thought she proceeded to yell at her cheering for the boy to win. While in her mind, inner Sakura was yelling out protests to her real self, Cha, what the hell? Come on, he looks a lot more better than Sasuke and you know that he'll even protect us with his life. If that's not love then you're out of you damn mind. Cha. During the talk the girls were having about the boy, Kiba and Hinata had a few things to say. Starting off was Kiba. Whoa, look at that thing. It looks like it could tear anyone to shreds with those claws it has and I wonder what the spikes on his back are for. Hinata could only stare in astonishment at what he crushed just did and felt that he would win this fight for sure. I see some great power coming from that arm and the spikes as well. It looks like he will win, Kiba, she said with a warm smile. Yay, the hair on the back on my neck are standing and we're just sitting up here from that much of a distance. If that's not power, I don't know what is, said the dog boy while his little puppy was slightly shivering from the power the arm is putting out. Tenten, who was sitting by herself, was now speechless at what she saw. She now didn't know who would win this match now. The trick this kid pulled out of nowhere could probably, since they have no knowledge of what it is, could have left all the training she did with Neji turn to nothing. Now this looks like trouble. I wonder if he's single. Wait a sec, why am I thinking of something like that? I like Neji, but he does have a real hunky body. Stop that. Think of Neji, 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 and she tried to continue the mantra throughout her head. What the hell is that? This one coming from Konkuro of the Sand team, I've never seen anything like that before. Why yay, me either, said Tamari of the Sands, who was blushing. Why would the Sand kunoichi blush, even though for the longest time in her career she has kept her base emotions in check and has never blushed a day in her life? Well, it could be the thoughts of she's having of what she thinks of the boy. Wow, he looks even more hot than he was moments ago. Wait, what the hell? Where the hell did that come from? Come on Tamari, he's going to soon be an enemy ninja. Why even think about hooking up with him when you haven't even talked to any boys, period. But he does have a nice, no bad Tamari, down. Think of the mission, think of the mission. Gaara as usual, stayed in his stoic manner. What is this power? I can feel it from here and it feels like that arm has some demonic chakra on it. Maybe he wasn't bluffing when he said he had a demon in him. Maybe when I kill him, I can ask which one he houses, thought the crazed sand user, getting excited at the thought of killing this ninja, besides Sasuke Uchiha. Everyone else in the waiting area and audience stands was silent with their mouth wide open, except for Shino, who kept his cool and only raised an eyebrow. We then turned our gaze to the cages in the high stands of the stadium, who were watching the match with astonishment on their faces. Lord Hokage, why didn't you tell me this boy had a Kekkei Genkai? Said the fake Cage, who was none other than Orochimaru, the cage of the Sound Village and all-time snake bastard of the Naruto universe. If I had known he had this kind of power, I would have given him a curse mark as well. Ooh, I can just feel the power radiating from that boy. Maybe once I'm done with killing the old man, I can go and retrieve the boy myself. Cuckoo, thought the snake bastard. Honestly, Lord Cage, I had no idea the boy had this kind of power, said the third Hokage in a shocked voice. This must be what Jiraiya has told me about Naruto. That must be the arm he used to get himself out of danger and knock out Jiraiya. I only hope that showing it now doesn't prove to be fatal for the boy, the old man thought once he gained his cool back. I'll leave out the clans, since I don't know them at all. What do you think of my Kekkei Genkai Neji? Ya like it? I call it my Grand Breaker, first stage. Hey, at least it's a name right. And you're gonna be the first to feel its power. Naruto then cocked his right fist back. You ready? No. Well, that doesn't matter because here I come. Shocking first bullet. The boy then charged forward with the lower spike breaking away and jetting him forward toward the Hyuga prodigy. The said young man hardly had time to react to the attack as he barely dodged the powered-up punch. The pain he felt just from the graze of it hitting the left of his ribs made him scared a bit. If that punch had landed a decent hit on him, he would have been down for the count. He began to think that he might have to pull out all the stops for this opponent, even though he still considered him a loser. But one to be afraid of, that's for sure. When he looked back to where he was going to stop, he saw him skid a bit in circle, but suddenly he vanished from his sight. Searching the area with the vision of his Byakugan, which had the vision a 360-degree, he found the boy coming at him at great speeds, almost as fastly to his surprise. Remember, he had to work real hard with weights all over his body in order to have control of his altar, so I made him this fast. But that didn't matter because he was not going to surprise him again like last time. I've got you now, said the speeding altar user, ready to give a good left hook to his arrogant opponent. Right when he was about to hit his face in, he is only stopped by a form of chakra, shielding the young man's face while he also holds a smirk on that very face. Naruto then saw a swirl of chakra going around. The prodigy then spun around, creating a rotation-like shield around him. The surprised boy was thrown far by the burst of rotating of chakra. What the hell? Damn, looks like I need to use the next bullet already. Naruto then staggered back to his feet, but when Neji heard he was going to use the next bullet, he only assumed he was talking about the remaining 2 red spikes on his back, and he was not going to let him have a chance at doing another powerful move like that again on him. The Hyuga prodigy then get into a strange stance, to which only those who use the style of gentle fist knew what attack he was going to use next on the unsuspecting victim, known as Naruto. Like, I'll allow you to do such a thing. You're in range and you can't escape my 8 trigrams, he said in an unusual stance. He then calmly says the technique he'll use, gentle fist art. 8 trigrams 64 palms. Neji then charges forward and spins to land in 2 hits. 8 trigrams. 2 palms, he land in both hits at the same time. Naruto staggers a bit from the 2 hits. 4 palms, landing in more hits. Gradually the boy pain is growing. 8 palms, the attacker increases a little more in speed at the hits. 16 palms, the pain Naruto feeling now is driving his mind nuts. 32 palms, the Hyuga prodigy's hands hitting the boy's body, almost going in a blur. 64 palms, then Neji hits Naruto with the number of strikes in a blink of an eye. With the last attack, the sheer force then throws Naruto back. Try as he may to get back up, that attack took a lot out of him. The proctor then walks over in between them. Looks, this match is already over. As interesting as it was, I was hoping it would have gone longer. I have now striked all 64 of your chakra points. You're lucky to even still be breathing, the Hyuga prodigy said in his superior voice. You just don't get to you. Chakra isn't the only power a human has. Naruto then began to glow in a golden, yellow chakra. He was using his altar power to heal his chakra points. Neji, startled by this, activates his Byakugan to see what's happening. Impossible, his chakra points are reopening. How is that even possible? The something begins to form where the chakra is generating from, almost as if it is forming an image. Huh. What is that? When the image becomes somewhat, it takes the form of fox-like demon, and that startles the boy. What are you? Well, I guess if it's name you want to give my clan, then so be it. My clan is the Uzumaki clan, the clan of altar users, the new brunette said in his own cocky voice. He knew if he was going to have family with anyone, thanks to the talk he had with Kazuma, that his family line would become the new altar users of this world. Why? The Hyuga asked, which confused Naruto by what he meant. Why do you even try so hard? I have done nothing against personally, so why do you want to beat me so badly? For once the Hyuga didn't know what he had done. HMPH, and here you said that you knew everything, he said sarcastically, but the god angered real quick. You don't remember what you did to Hinata, the way you played your mind games on her, tearing her down when she tried so hard to get here. That's it. That is a matter that doesn't concern you at all. He wondered why this boy was poking his nose where it didn't belong. You mocked Hinata by calling her a failure. All that stuff about the great Hyuga clan, main households, branch families, who gives damn? It gives no right to judge others as such, and that's one of the reasons I have got against you, the new altar user said in enraged voice. Well, I guess since it seems that you're so interested in our clan's doings, I'll tell you about them. The angered Hyuga was about to go on into a speech of his hatred towards the main household and what wrongs they have done him, but was cut off by his opponent. Ah, shut up about it, I don't need to know about your sob story. The only thing that I have on my mind now is to kick your. He then cocked his hand out again, ready to release his next bullet, but gave one last comment. Neji, anyone can change their destiny, we can always change it. If you don't believe me, then tell me, why do you struggle against it yourself? I had him have the knowledge granted to him about his struggles of the Hyugas while he was training. I'm not going to flash back it though. The last question caught the Hyuga prodigy, which left Naruto enough time to get in his next attack. Take this, Annihilating second Bulleting. He then took a quick spin and propelled himself towards the stunned young man. When he got in range, Neji got out of his thoughts and quickly did his rotation. The power of the two techniques collide and bring a force of blinding light. An explosion then occurs. The very explosion sends two figures sailing in opposite directions, forming craters that cover the bodies of the two. When everyone got their eyesights back, they looked at the form craters covering the bodies of the two competitors. When everyone saw one of them move, a hand shot out of the rubble and revealed to be none other than Neji. The said young man walked over the other crater, with a bit of a limp. He then saw the boy's body crumpled up in pain. A cocky smirk grew on his face at the moment. Hey, I knew he couldn't go against his destiny, no one can EV, but then he was cut off as an uppercutting punch shoot up from the ground. Oh, I'm not done yet, you ass. He then formed a shadow clone and had it kick the Hyuga further up in the air. He then used the clone itself as a jumping base and went after the prodigy in the air. He then proceeded to give a series of punches and kicks that seemingly defy gravity, raising them further up. At last part of his combo, he cocked his right altar hand back for one last strike, this the end, exterminating last, spiral, bullet. The difference between the two type of bullets was that the regular one would burst out the last bits of it energy and crush it opponents, but this version was meant to be used for this kind of situation. When the opponent is below him in the air, he can focus the last bullet to hold off a bit while releasing its power in a spiral, and when it hits, the punch holds onto the opponent until they hit dead center on the ground. Think of Yugo from Bloody Roar when he uses his super, only with Naruto's new altar instead of biting. When the two boys hit the ground, with Naruto jumping off from the impact while yelling out his new combo technique, Grand Spiral Fang Barrage. The sheer force of the combo had Neji almost on the verge of being knocked out, which meant his body was totally stunned. Cough, the shadow clone, I should have known. It's the technique you specialize in. As he said that the body that was in the crater poofed out of existence while revealing a hole in place of the clone. Most likely done by Naruto, who used his altar to drill through the dirt. Just so you know, I failed my graduation exams 3 times in a row. Because there was this one jutsu they always used that made me fail, the one jutsu that I couldn't master at all, so wanna take a guess at the jutsu that made me fail? No, well, it was the clone jutsu, that got a surprised look on the prodigy's face, so don't start bitching to me about destiny this, or destiny that. A person can change, Neji, even you. Change is always not easy, but it's always worth it, and when I become Hokage, I'll change the Hyuga's hold on the branch family. Yay, I heard about the caged bird, seal, so I give you my word, Neji, that I, Naruto, Shell Bullet, Uzumaki, will change the way of your clan. For some reason, the pale-eyed young man believed his words and resigned himself to state of unconsciousness. The proctor, smiling at the scene, yells out the result of the match. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki. The crowd cheered for the said boy's victory, the male portion cheering him for giving what the jerk needed, a good beat down. While the female portion were cheering on their new idol, while also holding up a new, "We love you Naruto" sign. But all in all, they were impressed with him and wanted to give him his respects. Up in the high stands, the 2 cages, which one was a fake and belonged to another village, were greatly impressed by the new altar user's power. Remarkable, his strength is truly unrivaled, and I can tell he was holding back a lot. I wonder how he came to such a degree of control and power on controlling Kazuma's power, thought the 3rd Hokage in shock and admiration of the boy. Now I know, I must have that power. He may very well be better than Sasuke and his Sharingan. Kukukuku, these thoughts belong to the snake bastard. My, the boy has great skill, I must say, and his Kekkei Genkei is most impressive. It would be a shame if he ever left your village, wouldn't it? Orochimaru said in his masked voice of the cage. Indeed, but I know his devotion is towards this village, and he won't do anything of the sort, because his dream is to take my job, and I just may do so when he gets to a certain age. Sarutobi was proud that he had someone such as Naruto to become Hokage in the future. He knew the village would be in good hands in the future if the boy stays true to his dream. The medic nins come and take Neji away to recuperate, leaving Naruto waving towards the crowd with him acting like goofy idiot, but also giving his patented foxy grin, which made little of the girl part of the audience faint at. The grin just made him look too sexy for them, while the guys envy and pity the boy. They know he'll from now on be prey to the girls in Konoha, like a certain Uchiha. After he was done acting like a goof, he then went up to the waiting balcony area and saw his 2 friends, Shikamaru and Shino Aburame the bug user. Hey guys, what's happening? Hope you guys like my match. Man, Naruto, you have some impressive power, and if I had known you had that power, then I wouldn't have went off on you after that incident at the hospital, said the lazy ninja, thinking if Naruto used his power, he might have gave Gaara a good run for his money and just maybe beat him. Yes, very impressive Naruto, the silent bug user in a monotone voice. Though he didn't show it, he was really impressed by the boy and was hoping he didn't have to fight him in the competition. Hey, thanks guys. He was glad he at least beat the Hyuga prodigy, the person that people said was impossible to beat, and that made him feel that he was one step closer to becoming Hokage. He then started to notice the crowd's shouts for the next match to start. He then remembered who was next. Hey, where the hell is Sasuke? Now that you mention it, he's still not here. That damn Sasuke, what the hell does he think he's doing? Is he forfeiting? The lazy ninja was really wanting to see this match as well. A wise man never quits danger, leading to a wise decision, Shino speaking in his monotone voice. Well, one thing I do know is that Sasuke wouldn't miss this match for the world. The bastard will definitely be here. The new altar user then shot a glare at the sand user with a mischievous smirk, who shot his own glare back. But seriously, just what the hell is he doing? If he doesn't get her soon, that is going to get disqualified. Then Naruto saw the same man that informed Genma of his new look, appeared in front of him and started to tell him something. He saw the proctor nod in understanding the situation. He then calls out to the crowd, "Listen here folks, one of the competitor for the next match has not arrived yet, so we're going to postpone this match briefly and simply jump ahead to the next battle that was to follow this one." This shocked everyone. They were all wondering what the last Uchiha could be doing to miss this match. Naruto lets out a sigh of relief. He didn't want his teammate to be disqualified because he wanted to beat him himself, badly. He wanted to show the jerk what kind of loser he was to the cocky brooder. "Hey, wait a minute, that means my battle is one match closer. What drag." The lazy ninja was really not liking this. He really didn't want to fight, especially a girl. As he would say, "This is just troublesome." "Alright, Shino, Kankuro, come down here so that we may start the next match," Genma yelled out to the two. Shino gripped the rail to jump down to the stadium floor, but Kankuro didn't want to fight and show his puppet's capabilities to the soon-to-be Leaf enemies, so he calls out to the proctor. "Sorry proctor, but I forfeit this match." This shocked the three boys in the audience. Why was he backing out now? Everyone thought. "I said I withdraw, so please, advance to the next match." Though Shino didn't show it, he was really pissed off. This also disappointed Genma. Sigh, due to Kankuro's withdrawal, Shino Aburame wins by default. Tamari, sick and tired of the crowd's displeasement to not seeing the next match, proceeds to bring out her fan and blows a gust of wind when she glides down. Though Naruto doesn't show it, he is impressed at her level of control at manipulating the wind. If ever he gets chance, he could ask the girl how she controls the wind so well and may be able to add some of the wind's effects to his altar. He then looks to Shikamaru and sees that he is really worried. Naruto lets out bit of a chuckle at the boy's situation to fight this girl. Naruto sees that the proctor and the Sand Kunyuchi talk to each other, most likely the proctor identifying the competitor for the next match. He sees Genma nod his head and calls out the lazy boy to come down. "Ah, come on. What are you doing moving these matches up like this? Why does have to be my stupid match that gets pushed up? Oh man, this is such a drag." Shikamaru continually complains to himself about the way things are going in this competition. Shikamaru Nara, come on. The proctor was getting impatient at the boy's delays. "Great. If it's going to be like this, maybe I'll withdraw too." He was about to call out to the proctor to withdraw, but a certain former blonde had to mess that up. "Shikamaru, hurry up and get your down there." Naruto then kicks the lazy boy right in the and the boy falls straight down to the stadium ground, and lands straight on his back. The lazy boy gives one thought the new altar user's action. "Thanks whole lot Naruto," he says in his thoughts with a scowl on his face. "You'll thank me for this Shikamaru, at least I hope so," thought the former blonde and hoped the lazy wouldn't hold this against in the future. But what made the case worse that the crowd didn't seem like they wanted him to be in the ring at all and started to throw anything they had, nothing really hard though. This really pissed himself off. "Hey Shikamaru, get your in gear and get to kicking some." But since he was yelling out loud enough he decided to tease the girl a little that was the lazy boy's opponent, but don't kick her too hard. I mean someone as sexy as that doesn't deserve to be hurt too badly. He saw the Sand Kunoichi's face go beet red at the comment and turns away from him, so that he can't see the blush. He then felt a killing intent coming from somewhere. He started to look around a bit and then land his eyes on Gaara, and he saw that the boy was glaring real hard at him. If looks could kill, Naruto would be dead now, about 20 times over. But Naruto just shrugged it off. As he was trained by Kazuma, his training was on killing intent, which consisted on Naruto being targeted by Kazuma's demonic killing intent, and that was the last time he had wanted to play around with the former altar user. After he saw that Tamari got over her embarrassment, he saw that she started off by trying to slam that metal fan of hers on the lazy boy's head, but the said boy somehow dodged the attack. Everything else after that was Shikamaru using his shadow possession jutsu in various situations and the girl trying her best to avoid the shot out shadow, the whole match seemed to go on for at least 2 boring hours. But in the last moments of the match, Shikamaru succeeded in using his shadow jutsu by using the hole Naruto made in his fight against Neji. He smirked at that. It seemed he at least helped his friend in some way. The next moment he saw his friend and the Sand Kunoichi raise their hand at the same time. Most likely Shikamaru was trying to get the girl to give up, but he didn't expect the next thing to happen at all. "I forfeit," said the lazy boy. During the match the whole crowd got interested in the match, but when he said those 2 simple words, the crowd was in an angry uproar. What did you say?" The Sand Kunoichi was just as confused as the crowd, though not as upset. "I used up all my chakra on that shadow possession jutsu, so I'm only good for another 10 seconds and that's it. Bummer, and here I already planned the next 200 moves in my head, but my chakra is running low," Shikamaru lazily explained to the girl. "Anyway, if I was really doing this thing, it would just mean more work." Then Proctor decided at that time to announce as the winner, and the winner is Tamari. And then, true to Shikamaru's words, the jutsu cancelled and released the Sand Kunoichi. She stood there dumbfounded. Just what the hell happened, she thought. Sigh. Damn it, man, I would have that you would at least win this match, but I can see why though too, Naruto said, surprising all 3 people standing on the stadium. He then gave his foxy grin to the girl with a wink, which made her blush at what he just did. Just how the hell does he do that? Come on, Tamari. Just think of the mission. He won't even look at you when the attack starts. So why does that make me feel bad? At the last thought, the Sand Kunoichi had a sad look on her face. Just why would it affect her if the boy didn't even look at her anymore? It really did confuse her. Well, I guess that now that this match is over, we can wait for the next match, huh, Naruto? The lazy boy said once he got over the shock of him being there without him noticing. Huh, oh yeah, that's right, it's that bastard's match next, huh? He got a nod from both the Proctor and the lazy ninja. Hey, can't wait, this match should be real entertaining. Aside from the 2 boys waiting on the arena floor, Tamari left to go back to her team, but she turned to ask Naruto something. Hey, kid. He then turned his head towards with U-shaped eyes like his sensei with a smile on his face and acknowledged her with a, just why do you keep saying and doing things that compliment me? She said in a low only he could hear. He then turned to her completely. Well, it's because I think it's true. You do look sexy, and as far as I can see, you're a great kunoichi. Say, after all this, how about you teach me a few lessons on wind manipulation? If you do, I swear I'll do something for you, anything you want. With that last comment he gave a bit of a wink. She was stunned. He wasn't necessarily trying to pick her up, but with the compliments she could tell he was telling her what he truly thought of her, and that made her kinda happy. But when she heard the last sentence, she got a little sad, knowing that in a moment's notice that they'll begin their mission and the 2 of them would become enemies. She then let out a stressful sigh. Thanks for the compliments, kid. But I don't know about the training. I'll have to think about that. See ya. She then turned to the stair that led to the waiting area balcony. I hope she decides to help me out in my training. It wouldn't be half bad to have her as my trainer. He then turned back to his lazy friend. Yo, any sign of Sasuke yet, man? Sigh. No, none whatsoever. I wonder where he is. The lazy ninja, like everyone else, wanted to see the fight between Sasuke and Gaara. Then Genma was thinking on ending the wait and declare Gaara the winner. Well, looks like Sasuke out of luck. Too bad, it would have been a good match, but then he noticed the Hokage's messenger. Lord Hokage wants to wait 10 more minutes, said the messenger in a whisper to Genma. I see, a 10-minute reprieve, huh? He then set his stopwatch to 10 minutes, so he'd know when it was time to call the match. Growl. I swear, if he doesn't show up, I am gonna kill that bastard. He is really wearing down my patience. He's gonna be disqualified if doesn't get here now. The new altar user was getting pretty upset, and his temper wasn't getting any better as time passed by. There were only 30 seconds left before Sasuke's time was up and things were starting to get real heated up. That better not be thinking about some big time entrance because I'll tell you one thing, I won't be impressed. So, time's up, so that's that. The proctor then starts his announcement. Alright, the time limit has been expired, so I'm officially calling this match, but he then noticed a single leaf falling in. Then out of nowhere, a whole storm of leaves come through, and when the little storm settled down, two figures were standing back to back on the stadium floor. These two figures reveal to be Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja in his usual attire, and Sasuke Uchiha, the self-proclaimed Avenger with a new look, mostly black just like in the anime and manga. Sorry we're late, you wouldn't believe the traffic, said Kakashi in a cheery tone and happy-looking eye. And you are? Asked Genma with a smirk on his face, already knowing who it is. Sasuke Uchiha, the Avenger said simply. In the stand, two new figures showed up in the audience's seats. The two turn out to be none other than Lee, who is still recuperating, and Guy, so we made it in time, said the guy's mini-me. Gasp! Lee, Sakura said in a cheerful voice. Hey, where is Naruto? I don't see him in the waiting area or the stadiums, was he carried off after the fight? He turned to the pink-hair Kunoichi, to which she shook her head. To answer you questions in order, Lee, here's down there, in the ring, and no, he wasn't carried off to recuperate. She saw he had a questioned look on his face as to where he is, so she pointed out where Naruto was. Look down there, he's the one with gray clothes and brown spiky hair. When he did as he was told, he nearly fell off his crutches. That's Naruto, are you sure? He only got nods from both Sakura and Ino while Choji had the same look as Lee on his face. What happened to make him look like that? At that moment Ino chose to speak. Me and Sakura think it's because of his new Kekkei Genkai. She got very shocked looks from Choji, Lee, and Guy. She knew that what they were going to ask and answered their unsaid questions. He said in his match against Neji that he calls it his Grand Breaker, but he also said it was its first stage, so we think there might be an advanced power to it as well, and as far as we know he hasn't even used. But to say the least, his first stage packs a hell of a wallop. She then told them about the match in detail. When she finished, Lee and Guy were dumbfounded. How could he have developed so far, even if he had a bloodline limit? And she said he was just as fast as Lee without his weights. What could he have done to develop so fast in 1 month? Thought the green-clad grown-up. During the whole conversation between the group in the crowd, the group on the stadium floor are having their own conversations. Hey, so you finally come, you jerk. You know, if you got disqualified, you wouldn't be able to face me, Naruto said in a cocky voice. Who the hell are you? Sasuke asked. Little mad this stranger is being so familiar with him. Kakashi was just about to the same question as well. Though the one thing they couldn't get was that they felt they met this guy before, but they couldn't remember where. Hey, you not the only one to go through some changes, you jerk. It's me, Naruto Uzumaki. Believe it, this got them skeptical, but the guy sure did have his personality. Well, just take a good look at me and you'll know it's me. They do as he says and do take a good look at his features. They then get shocked to find out it is the hyperactive short blonde ninja. Naruto, what happened to you? Asked Kakashi in shocked voice. Let's say it's the result of me training my Kekkei Genkai. This shocked the two and only served to anger the Uchiha. How could this loser have a bloodline limit, and how could just training in it help to come out looking like that? Kakashi was just shocked beyond belief and made a note to test out the boy's new Kekkei Genkai to see its capabilities. Just ask everyone, if you're skeptical about my new abilities. Sasuke, getting out of his shock and anger, went back to his cocky self. Yay, whatever, anyways, did you win? Shit. You know it. He didn't know what hit him, the new alter user said in his cocky voice. Hey, well, don't get too full of yourself. You're still a loser. The both of them then look at each other in their own type of respect. Well, sorry we kept you waiting, but, just how late are we? I mean, it's not like Sasuke is, disqualified or anything, right? He. The copy nervously asks the proctor. Like master, like pupil, even right down to your lazy sense timing, Genma, in his own way, giving his answer, getting them on the edge kind of answer. Well, what about it? The sensei of Team 7 was starting to get a little worried. You know you were so late, that we extended the deadline for you, twice in fact. And it's just lucky for you that you just made it. No, he's not disqualified, the proctor said, relieving the two late ninjas, even though the young Avenger didn't show it that he too was worried. Ooh, he, that's a relief. You really had me worried there for a minute, so we're okay. Kakashi noticed the last Uchiha was staring off to somewhere and followed the boy's gaze to source, revealing it to be none other than Gaara of the Sand. You better make sure you don't lose to this guy, said the new brunette. Got it, not even caring what the boy said. Seriously man, don't you lose, because I want to beat your myself, Naruto voicing a determined tone to the brooder. He remembered how Sasuke said that he too was one of the many people he wanted to fight. Got it, the brooder said looking directly at him. The proctor, having enough of the free time these two are creating, calls out to the next competitor, alright Gaara, come down here. Well come on Shikamaru, they don't need us down here to get in the way of the fight. Naruto then quickly picks up the lazy boy by tossing him over his shoulder and jumps right up to the waiting area, surprising two of the Sand team members up in there, except for Gaara. Damn it Naruto, I wanted to take the stairs this time, Shikamaru says in an angered voice. Ah, come on, don't tell me you're still peeved about that little nudge I gave ya, you should at least be grateful I did that, the new altar user said while leaning back against the wall with his arms crossed. He wasn't really paying any attention to the lazy boy's complaints, but he started to overhear the Sand team tell Gaara something he wasn't really gonna care, when he heard about something about not messing up about some plan, that had him raise an eyebrow. He noticed that Shino also heard, as he repeated the words to himself without the Sand team hearing him. After that, the Sand user proceeded to leave through the stairs to get to his next match. For a minute, Naruto stayed in his position, but when Gaara arrived in the stadium grounds, he then walked over to the rail and leaned on it, next to the Sand Kunoichi. Well, it looks like this match is anyone's fight, huh? It took a minute before she knew he was there, she then got startled that he was leaning next to her. She was so focused on her little brother, that the world around her hardly existed. Hey, yay right. Like you teammate can penetrate the sand shield Gaara has, Tamari said with a smirk. I wouldn't be too sure about that, from the looks of Sasuke, he's gone through the same kind of speed and power training I went through, if at all little different. Naruto could sense the power his teammate acquired, but he couldn't help but think he might have used the Sharingan to shortcut his training, while Naruto trained day in and out without the help of Kazuma's chakra and his healing abilities. This startled her a bit. She remembered the speed the new brunette and the power he held. It was almost like that bushy brown ninja, but the boy's style was totally different from that very ninja. She looked back to her little brother and got a little worried. Gaara, be careful. You may not believe we care about you, but please, be careful, the Sand Kunoichi said in her thoughts. Naruto saw the worried look on her face and wanted to comfort her at least. Ah, don't worry, I'm sure your teammate will be okay. And if he does win, well, when I fight him, I promise that I'll knock some sense into him about how to really act around others. The new altar user then gave a genuine smile to the Sand Kunoichi and gave his own, nice guy, pose. You know, the thumbs up and everything, only not as dorky. In way, she was glad he said that and gave a nod to him as thanks. She really started to like this kid and was wondering if doing the mission at all was really worth it. She secretly hoped that the attack on the Leaf Village would fail, so that maybe, somehow, things would get back to the way they were with a few changes. The new brunette then turned his gaze back to the fight that was about to start. He saw the two of them staring each other down like it was old western moving, the tension growing high with each passing second, with the wind blowing hard and tumbleweeds going by. Wait, how the hell did tumbleweed get in the stadium? would ever mind as well just keep watching the start of the match. The proctor then started the match and Gaara unleashed his sand from the gourd, to which Sasuke jumped away from the boy, waiting for any attack he may throw at him. But then the sand user started to clutch his head in pain all of a sudden and started talking about his mother, and how she'll like the taste of blood she'll have now. That started to creep Naruto out. Was this guy really that much of a nutcase? If so, he'll really need to knock some sense into him, hard. He then overheard the two sand team members talking in whispers about the situation. From what he could tell, this is not the first time it happened, and when it does, the consequences are truly fatal. Once the sand stopped floating and landed on the ground, the crazed sand user was back to his old self. Once that was done, they both got into their battle stances, and then Sasuke started the attack by throwing his shurikens, but was stopped by Gaara's sand shield that turned into a sand clone, which had the caught shurikens in its hands. Sasuke charged into attack, but the clone bursts out a whole bunch of sand to stop and crush the boy, but the Avenger quickly jumped over the attack. The clone then threw the shuriken it had to Sasuke, who was in the air, but the Uchiha threw in his own shurikens to intercept the attack. When the Uchiha got close enough in the air to the clone, he air-kicked it, destroying its sand hands. He then quickly recovered on the ground and then did a backhand punch to the clone's throat, but upon impact the clone started to wrap the punch in its sand. Quickly thinking his next action, Sasuke palm thrusted the clone in the face, thus releasing him from the clone's grip. He then went in for a straight jab for the sand user's face, but the sand shield quickly got in place of the incoming attack. But the Avenger only smirked at the attempt and disappeared from the sand user's sight, which nonetheless surprised Gaara. The sand user then saw the Uchiha appear right behind him. He's fast, just like those other two. He then remembered his fight with Lee and Naruto's match with Neji. But the Uchiha movements were almost an exact copy of the bushy brown ninja moves, but he was brought out of his thought as Sasuke gave him a good, hard right-hand jab to the face which made him fly a few feet. HMPH, I knew it, he did go through that kind of training. By what Sasuke had just done, Naruto now knew the brooding boy used his Sharingan to copy Lee's speed and power. He felt bad for Lee and angry with Sasuke for cheating his way to such a level. If you must obtain that kind of power, you have to work for it, not cheat for it. What Naruto did in his training was pure hard work, but his teammate used his Sharingan to copy one of his comrade's movements and he didn't like that at all. He then saw the Avenger get into Lee's taijutsu stance, and goaded for the sand user to go ahead and attack. But the psychotic boy just laid there, glaring at the Uchiha, and that only served to make the boy to charge forward at great speed to the sand user. The sand activated to defend the incoming attack, but the speeding Uchiha only went around and kicked the boy in the air. This went on for a while, with Gaara being defenseless to the Uchiha's new speed and power, while evading the sand's attacks and defenses. But when they paused a bit to catch their breaths, Gaara made single-hand seal and then the sand around him started to form a sphere, like cocoon. But Sasuke wasn't going to let him do what he wants and quickly sped toward the sand user, but as soon as he reached him to give him a good punch, the sand had already formed a sphere with spikes going forth to the Uchiha. The Avenger then jumped away with his hand bleeding from the knuckle, due the force of the punch he used on the sand sphere that felt like it was harder than steel. The spikes on the sphere then retracted back to the sphere itself, making it into a smoothly surfaced sand sphere. After that was done, he saw more sand forming something else. It then turned out to be floating eyeball, which made Naruto almost puke. Come on, if you saw a creepy floating eyeball, wouldn't you get a little sick? So how are you going to get past that, Sasuke? You'll need something powerful to get through that defense, Naruto commented on the fight so far. He saw Sasuke try his best with conventional means of attacking and breaking through sand sphere, but it all proved to be useless against it. He saw the Avenger's face and could tell he knew he need to do something else than regular attacks. He then saw him back flip toward the wall opposite of the sphere and continually flipping up it. He then stopped when he was close enough to the top. The brooding boy then went through a small amount of hand seals and clutched his left hand downward, toward the wall he is hanging off from. Naruto could feel the power building up in the hand and saw lightning discharges coming from it. He then heard the sound of birds chirping. He looked around for those birds, but found the source to be Sasuke's lightning hand. He then saw him charge forward, down the wall and jumping off from it too, still speeding towards the sphere on the ground. Whoa, now that's a neat trick. But not as cool as my shell bullets, the new altar user said, which made the people who heard him only nod. When the Avenger got close, the sphere tried to use its spikes to stop the charging the boy from attack, but the Uchiha only dodged the spikes barely and threw the electrically charged hand into the sphere and yelled out the technique, Chidori. Most of the people, except Kakashi and Naruto, were surprised that he was able to get through Sand Sphere's hard defense. Impossible. No one can get through Gaara defenses. No one. The puppet user couldn't believe what happened just now as much as his sister, Tamari, who also agreed. Well, believe it, pal, that bastard actually got through that dense sphere, Naruto said in a cocky tone. But something was wrong. He could see it. From what he could tell, it seemed Sasuke had his hand stuck in the sand and was struggling to get out. He then let out a discharge of lightning to get out. While doing so, Gaara was screaming out in pain of electricity running through him. When the Avenger got loose from the sphere, the most surprising and weirdest thing happened. A grotesque claw held onto his arm for a bit before letting go and hitting the ground. It then retracted back into the sphere, and Sasuke stood there, stunned at what he saw a moment later. Naruto knew what it was the demon sealed inside Gaara, Shukaku. Is that thing taking over again? Kankuro asked worriedly to his sister. Naruto knew just what he meant when he said, thing, which only meant the demon. I don't know, this has never happened before. I think he's hurt, Tamari said in a sort of worry that a sister has for a brother. Even in this situation, Naruto felt glad that the sand user had someone who loved him as family. The sphere then started to crack, and then a few seconds later, the sphere merely fell and Gaara stood in its place, clutching the wound done by Sasuke. I was right, he's hurt. The shell broke before the change was complete, the sand kunoichi informing her brother of what happened. That's when something started to happen. Seemingly out of nowhere, many feathers started to fall from the sky and Naruto knew what it was immediately, a genjutsu. Under the training he went with Kazuma he learned how to block out illusions, so he power up his alter power a bit and blocked the genjutsu with it. Not another second later, he heard an explosion occur where the Hokage was seated. Not thinking for another second, he jumped to where his sensei was standing in the stadium to see what was going on. Before the two sand team members went to see how Gaara is doing, Tamari took one last look at Naruto. I'm sorry kid, but it looks like we won't be having that training you wanted. See ya, and so the operation on the attack of Konoha has begun.